This is about humans dreaming together.
About humans supporting each other on our journeys.
It's about the science and the art behind making our dream lives a reality.
To the students of life,
the young and the curious,
The dreamers and the doers.
To those who crave to be a strong individual
and want to be part of something bigger than themselves. Welcome.
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 Welcome to the Dreamology podcast. What's going on, everybody? It's your host, Tim Bishop, back with another episode of the Dreamology podcast. Remember, we are here because in school we didn't learn about how to make our dream lives a reality, and so here we are studying how to do that, and we are making sure that we're all making daily progress towards our dream lives. For me, it's been a little bit over 18 months since I made the conscious decision to try to make my dream life a reality. And in that process, I am trying to grow, to transform, to connect, to love, to contribute, and to really just see what the best life looks like for me. And I want to help others do the same. And these conversations are a way that I can do that. And so I'm really excited to introduce today's guest. Let's get to it. Today's guest is the absolute man, Pauly Long. He is an entrepreneur, the founder of Mineset, a company that is taking people's mindsets to the next level and making their dreams a reality, just like we're doing on this podcast. He has accumulated over 230,000 followers on Instagram as he inspires people every day to chase the life of their dreams. And he has a pretty awesome story. He started from not going to school, working at an LA Fitness for 4 years, until one day he decided that there was more out there for him in life. And he started trying and experimenting and failing and experimenting and failing until finally he found his thing, where now he is starting his business, traveling the world, and doing big things. And so it was really an honor to have him on the show. And I'm super excited to share his words of wisdom, advice, and life story with you. So without further ado, here is Pauly Long. All right, dream chasers out there. We got Pauly Long on the show today. Very special guest, traveler, entrepreneur, mindset coach. Man's doing it all right now, and he's out in Hawaii for this call. Pauly, it's been a crazy year. How you doing personally, man? How you been the last couple months?
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me too. It's been wild, man. Just to give you and the listeners a little breakdown of everything that's been going on. Go back to July last year is when I decided to just completely 180 my life, drop everything I was doing, and just jump cold turkey right into entrepreneurship. I had like no money, no job, no income, no plan, no nothing. And I had been, I had quit my job of 4 years back in the end of March last year, which was with LA Fitness, the gym chain.
Gotcha.
I was the personal training manager for a few different clubs for them, a few different gyms for them over the course of 4 years. And I quit. I got a job with a real estate team, making phone calls, setting up appointments, and I was studying for my exam during that. I had already failed it twice by the time I joined their team. Failed it another time during that, and then finally passed it a fourth time. In June, and then I was with them for like 3 more weeks after I passed my test, and I realized that it was just not at all what I wanted to be doing. Didn't really like the way they were conducting themselves, and I split. We parted ways July 1st, and like I said, I'd been networking with all these guys on Instagram, and I invested. First of all, too, I was trying all of these different businesses while I was also trying real estate. So I was in a couple different like MLM, network marketing businesses. Was trying to do real estate. Then I paid for like a $1,500 mentorship for like e-com and Shopify. I paid like $500 or someone to teach me how to do Instagram right and run that. I was just like investing,
Right.
trying and failing like crazy. The guy who I invested $1,500 with for Shopify also offered to fly me out to Arizona, where he lived, and the other guy who I also paid for Instagram was like friends with him and worked in the office right next to him. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. I can go out, I can meet both parties, see what's going on, and do something crazy with my life. And for me, this was very foreign at the time for me to do that, right? This was very, very, like, I would have never done something like this before, but I was just so fed up with doing the same shit with my life that I was like, you know what? Fuck it, right? And I got on the plane and I went, and it was a one way. I didn't know when I was coming back. I said, Mom, Dad, I'll see you guys in a weekend. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Who knows?
Right? Yeah. And I got there, and I was sleeping on this kid's couch, right? With like, and there was like 3 other kids who also did the same thing, like paid for a mentorship, got a flight out. We're all like sleeping on this kid's couch, and like has like bean bags, and it was just it was crazy. It was a whole new experience for me. I was like, what the hell is going on, right? I stayed there for 2 weeks. I came back after meeting the other people too. And I decided, and I also met this kid who I became like really good friends with out there. And I was like, you know what? Everything is just aligning right now. I was like, I'm going for it. So I was like, let me go home and get my stuff together, and maybe I'll go there in like a couple months, something like that. So I get home, and I'm like 2 weeks later, I'm like talking on the phone with one of the guys, and I'm like, yeah, I'll probably come out in like October or something like that. Mind you not, it's like beginning the middle of August, right? And
Okay.
he's like, dude, what are you waiting for? And I'm like, fuck, you're right. I got nothing. I'm like, I got no answer for that. So I literally got on my computer that night, stayed up till like 5 a.m. Looking at Airbnbs. Finally, I just booked an Airbnb for August 19th all the way through to September 30th. Got all my shit together. 5 days later, I packed up my car and split. Peace, everyone. Later. Moved to Arizona on a whim, drove cross country 3 days straight, like no stop, like little bit of stopping here and there. I stopped in like DC to see like some like the White House and stuff like that. I stopped in Tennessee, Nashville.
Where are you from?
Philly.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So
Okay,
just
gotcha.
perspective on this, I drove from Philly to Arizona in 3 days, right? So I went DC to Nashville, stopped in Memphis for lunch, drove all the way to Texas, Dallas for dinner, and then kept driving across Texas. Got there at like 1 a.m, crashed in Texas the second night. I slept in Nashville the first night, and then made a beeline for I think I stopped in like El Paso or something like that for lunch, and then hit Tucson, Arizona for dinner, and then boom, got to Scottsdale the third day, and it was just crazy. Like I just completely was like, I'm doing something with my life right now. Like this is it, and I'm not giving myself a choice. I'm not giving myself an option. I'm not giving myself anything but the ability to win. That was it. Like I was just like, dude, fuck this. I'm done.
Yeah.
And I got there. Like I said, I had no money. I had no job. I had no income. I had no plan. I had no nothing. And I just started hustling. And I still tried like a few different businesses again while I got there, and just kept failing. Like try, fail. And I was making a little bit of money online. I was like, kind of like affiliating other businesses for a commission, that kind of thing. And so I linked up with a ton of people, did some traveling, went to LA, went to Mexico, went to Vegas, just kept meeting more and more people. And mind you not, the guy that I told you I became really good friends with, me and him were just doing everything together, right? And then we both left those people within a month, because that's how I met him. He did the same exact thing. He got the Shopify mentorship and the Instagram guys, and we were working with the same people, and we realized all of them were just like not the people we wanted to be working with. And we split, and he built his own business. I built my own business. So fast forward to December, I drove back home again. I packed my car up again, split. We booked a trip to Bali, actually, me and this guy. So we booked a 1-month trip to Bali, Indonesia, for January, the second week of January to the second week of February. And we were like, let's go see our families. He was from Jersey. I'm from Philly. So I packed my car up again with a puppy this time too, mind you not. I got a puppy out there. I was just doing everything, man. I was like losing my mind. Drove back home again, 3 days, got to Philly, and stayed there for a few weeks, and then went to Bali. So this is where it gets interesting. And I just wanted to give you guys like the the backdrop of
I love it, dude.
like how the hell I got it, to where I was going, right? So,
Yeah.
so we booked this trip to Bali. We go home, see the families for the holidays, whatever. January 9th, we get on the plane, 24-hour travel to Bali. We're there, good to go. So when you're out overseas there, you gotta unless you have a long-term social visa or a Kitas visa, that grants you like 6 months of citizenship or 4 years of citizenship or something crazy like that. You got to fly out every 30 days when you're staying over there long-term, right?
Yep.
Anywhere like that, right? Bali, Southeast Asia, anywhere there. So after the first month was up, I decided I wanted to stay. I loved it. I was like, I'm not going home. So that guy that I was with, he went back to the States. I flew to Singapore for a few days. And this is right around the time, this is February 10th, February 9th, right around the time that Corona, just like you said, kind of the time where Corona started getting a little sketchy.
Yeah.
And I flew to Singapore for a few days. First time I ever traveled on my own, which was awesome. Great experience, just kind of mucked around the city for a few days and checked it out, and then went back to Bali. Spent another 30 days in Bali. Okay. So now we're at March 12th.
Yeah.
It's time to fly out again. So I had booked a trip to Philippines, Puerto Princesa, Philippines for 4 days, March 12th to March 16th. And I know everything about the story, like from the exact dates to the exact dates, because it was just so crazy. I'll never forget it, and I'll be able to tell this for the rest of my life. So I get to Philippines March 12th. I land kind of like 6 p.m. 7 p.m. I'm just tired. I'm like, let me grab dinner. I'm gonna go to sleep. I got a whole plan to drive halfway up the island, park up in a village, drive all the way to the top of the island, hit the El Nido popular spot, drive all down the last day, go to sleep, and then boom, I'm on the plane Monday the 16th, right? So I wake up. Now it's Friday the 13th, of course, right? Love the update. And I go down. I slept in a little bit till like 9. I was like exhausted. I had some work to do too. So I was in my hotel room for a couple hours just on my computer. By the time I got downstairs, it's like 11:30, almost 12. And I go to the front and I'm like, hey, you guys do car rentals, right? And they're like, yeah. They're like, where are you going? I'm like, I give them my whole plan. And she's looking at me like I got 12 heads. She's like, dude, what are you talking about right now? And I'm like, what's the issue, right? She's like, have you not heard? And I'm like, heard what? And she gets a piece of paper and slaps it in my face like this. And it says, mandatory lockdown starting Sunday the 15th. And I'm like, oh shit, right? Like it was one of those oh shit moments, like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. And she's like, if you don't want to be here with us for the next, however long, you better get out now. And I'm like, right? I'm like, no. So I'm on my computer now. I'm like, oh my God, I'm scrambling. I'm like, oh my God. Like the reality's setting in. I'm like, if I don't get a flight now, like, fucked, right? And I'm looking at it, and it's like every time I would find a flight, it's like while it was loading, it got booked. Like that. It was like they were just disappearing. And I'm like scrambling. I'm like, no. So after like 30 minutes of like literally like every time I would find a flight, it was like getting booked while I was booking it. So after like 30 minutes of that, I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, give me to the airport, right? So I call a cab. Cab comes, gets me to the airport. And in the Philippines, a lot of these cabs, it's like a tricycle thing. So I'm like in this little like tricycle, like a Fred Flintstone car. Okay, imagine with like
a tuk-tuk thing.
Yeah, literally. Like imagine a motorcycle with like a Fred Flintstone cap.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like bumping around, my head smacking the ceiling. It was crazy, man. I get to the airport, the line is just ridiculous. It's the entire building, right? And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So while I'm in the coffee shop getting this guy money for the cab, I come back. There's 2 German kids, these brothers, who were also actually trying to get to Bali, like I was, standing there talking to him. And they're like, hey, they're like, your driver said you're trying to get to Bali, and I'm like, yeah. And they're like, dude, it's screwed right now. They're like, we're going to go to the mall and talk to the flight people at the mall and see if they have any extra flights. So I'm like, all right, whatever, let's just roll together. So now me and these kids, we're rolling together. We're all 3 of us are in this little tricycle Fred Flintstone car, and we're like, dude, it was comical. And so we pull to the mall. We're scrambling. We get there. We talk to them. Same thing. They're like, dude, we are sold out. We got nothing. And we went to bed that night, got up the next morning at like 3 o'clock to try one more time in the morning, get to the airport. It literally looked like it did the day before at 12. So we spent 3 hours getting through the line, getting into the airport. And we were sitting on the floor of the airport just at a dead halt and realized like, we're done.
We're not getting out.
We are not getting. So I got stuck in the Philippines. So we got a van shuttle, brought us 5 hours up to Port Bartone, which is where I was planning on staying anyway for a night. Ended up getting quarantined in a guest house there for almost 2 weeks. Like soldiers out in the street with like AK-47s, like you cannot leave your house, like that type of shit. It was crazy. And then they finally sent us a rescue bus after like 2 weeks. By now it's like March 26th, I want to say. So we had to get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I didn't even go to bed. I just stayed up all night. And the bus came at like 3:30. There was like 30 of us, who weren't Filipino, and were just traveling. We got on the bus. It was like a 5-hour drive down to the island, to the airport again. They got us a flight over to Manila, and Manila is like the capital of Philippines. That's where all the flights go in. Got us there. So I was like, all right, thank God I'm at least like out of, Palawan Island where I was stuck.
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking I got to get back to Bali because I have a whole suitcase in Bali, mind you not. Okay. So like with some of the friends I met over there, I have an entire suitcase of stuff that I left there. I had 5 days of clothes with me, 4 or 5 days of clothes with me. That's it. A little bag and a backpack. Right. And I wore the same stuff in this guest house for like 2 weeks. I couldn't even do laundry. It was just, dude, everything about it was just absurd. And, I was like, all right, I got to wait for this social visa to get processed. So the woman who I was coordinating this social visa for Indonesia said that I could pick it up in Manila, but it wouldn't be ready for like 2 weeks until like April 10th. So I'm like, all right. So I got to wait. So now I'm parked up in Manila. And mind you not, I'm running a business this entire time, right? I had launched my business on January 1st, which we'll get in, we'll obviously talk about.
Yeah.
Where pretty much it's about to come to this story is about to come to an end. So thanks for listening.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty crazy, but it was like April 2nd, April 3rd, and I get an email from her saying that the Indonesian embassy in Manila shut down till further notice. And so the whole the whole purpose of me waiting there was completely shot. And then the same day, just as like a double, go F yourself kind of thing, like from the universe, Bali also updated their rules saying that social visas weren't even allowed anyway. So it was like, even if you did get it, Pauly, you can't come in. You're screwed.
Yeah.
Just get it, right?
Just go.
Yeah. So at that point, that is when I finally was like, all right, I'm throwing in the towel. Bali's just not happening right now. Booked a flight to Hawaii. And I got to Hawaii April 16th. I've been here a little over 2 months. Got my team here now. It's just pretty nuts of a first half of 2020.
Yeah. Not what, dude, that's insane. I mean, yeah, not what we expected.
No.
You're on the road, and yeah, I was in California too, but for me, it was like, okay, I was supposed to be there for 2 weeks. My second day, I was like back home. But for me, that was just 2-hour flight. But
yeah.
Dude, and I know, so I most of my listeners know, but I studied abroad in Southeast Asia. So I studied abroad in Bangkok.
Nice.
But I went to Bali, Lombok, the Gili Islands. I went to Philippines. And so I know what you mean, man. Like, I can't imagine being there on lockdown because, already you're a foreigner, and they like white people. Like it's,
right.
They like Westerners. They kind of, they don't push us out, but at the same time, you don't know the streets. You don't know, you don't know much. You don't know, like, are you going to go outside and there's a guy with a gun and he can't speak English and you're like, dude.
While I was in Philippines too, the Filipino president got on national TV, and made a live announcement. I can't remember. I usually don't watch TV, but I'll put it on sometimes with the background noise while I'm working. So I had it on whatever, like a movie channel while I was on my laptop. And I saw the screen change out of my peripheral, and I look up and it's national, and I'm like, this looks like it just popped out of nowhere, right? So I'm like, all right, this must be an urgent thing. Turn the volume up. He's talking about if you go out past 8 o'clock, if you do not obey curfew, I give my troops the orders to shoot you down. Like literally those words out of his mouth. And I'm like, what? Right? I'm like, okay, all right, this is good.
Man.
Yeah, it was crazy,
man.
man. I was in the ghetto. So Port Bartome is a touristy place, but it's essentially it's a poverty stricken village. So first I was there in a poor village, right? And then I got out of there, and then I was in the ghetto. I was in Pasay City, Manila, which is literally like the hood of Manila, where the airport is. There's one available hotel. That's it. One entire hotel that we could stay in. All of them were shut down or full. That was it. So my days would literally, consist of waking up, doing my business for a little bit, walking to the nearest little meat place called Andox, where they sold like fried chicken, barbecue chicken sticks, pork liempo, they call it. I would get some chicken and pork and everything, and walk back and eat, and then work again, and maybe do a little workout in my room, and that was it. Like I did nothing for like 4 weeks. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But,
dude.
yeah.
Well, yeah, crazy, man. Jumping back to the beginning of that story, I liked how you talked about the pre-travel experience, because a couple of things where you just, what I always talk about too, and what I've been doing the last 18 months, and the fact that you just tried a ton of stuff, like I feel like that is not talked about enough in this whole like starting the entrepreneurial journey, or no matter what you're doing, like literally anything, any topic of life, because you want to just jump in and be like, oh, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I know my purpose. I know how it's going to work. I know that I'm for sure going to like this thing if I try it. I know that if I do this, it's going to work. But when in reality, it's like, I think I might like this. Oh, that didn't work, but this thing looks cool and that didn't. And I think people are afraid to be seen as like a starter and a stopper and a jumper around. But dude, that's like, I think the best thing anybody can do as far as like finding your thing is just, you got to get those touches, right? You got to try different things.
Practice,
and eventually,
practice.
Yeah. And if you have the conviction, right? I mean, I'm actually curious about this for you, because I know you said you made the choice, right? Something happened and you made a choice and you said, I'm going to commit to this, because I think that's also a huge part, because if you're not truly committed to it, then you can't do that sampling, or else it's going to be too hard and you're just going to be like, fuck it. Like I'm done with this. So that was cool. And I liked your friend too, everyone needs a friend who says, what are you waiting for? I love that part, because it was like, what is anyone waiting for?
Seriously. I was making excuses, and when he said that, he's like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen in 2 months? And I was just like, I had nothing. I was like, all right, you win. You got me.
Yeah.
I'll see you Monday.
Yeah.
Literally.
So how did you get into the business now? Mindset, and then obviously your own coaching. How did you end up landing on that? I know you tried a bunch of stuff, but what made this be the thing that you were like, I think this is something I really want to pursue and dive into heavily? And you can get a little background on what it is too for the listeners.
Yep. Yeah. So Mineset, spelled Mineset, as in not yours, but mine. Mindset is about helping others live the lives they truly want to live, without them being influenced by judgments or the opinions of others. That's our mission statement. And essentially, I created this program because I finally did what I wanted to do, because I was so afraid of doing it in the past, because I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to be seen failing, and I didn't want to hear it from everyone. Like, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is crazy. Don't do it. Don't leave your job. This and that. Right. So like I sheltered myself for so long, and finally just snapped out of it one day, and did what I wanted to do without being influenced by judgments or the opinions of others. Right. So I created this program based on that, because I knew at the time so many people who are that they're not doing it. They're not doing what they want to do,
Yeah.
So they're so heavily influenced by the people that they think are the closest to them, who are actually doing the most damage, right? A lot of times it's our friends and family and our coworkers who, the people that we see every day and every weekend, it's those people that are stopping us from getting where we want to be, which is crazy. It shouldn't be like that. It should be the opposite, right?
Yeah.
So I built this community, for that, right? To help people overcome that. And the way that it got started,
I love that, dude. I love that.
yeah, thank you. And the way that it got started, and I'm a very spiritual person. And that's something that really came about a little bit towards the end of 2019, but mainly I had a really, really big spiritual shift, spiritual transformation, as you might call it, in Bali. Actually, Bali really, really did something to me in a great way, and forever.
Good place for a spiritual a spiritual awakening.
No, and it's so like cliche to say that, but it's dude, it really did, man. I mean, I had a big awakening in Bali. Actually, I got all these sleeves, my leg sleeve, my arm sleeve. I got them all done in Bali, and there's a whole like explanation on my leg about like why I did everything and why I'm doing everything I'm doing. So yeah, needless to say, when was it? So like I got to Arizona in August. And like I said, I was doing affiliate stuff. So I was just all the people that I was meeting on Instagram, because I started growing my Instagram. I started posting like, some quality pictures of myself just to like create a new image for myself. That wasn't just like posting like, gym pictures and like selfies with my family and friends.
Right.
Like a picture with dogs or something like that. You know what I mean? Because I saw all these people on Instagram. I saw all these kids, mind you now, I'm 27 last year. Okay. I'm 28 years old now. My birthday's in March. So I turned 28 a few months ago. Last year, I'm 27 years old. I'm looking at Instagram. I'm seeing all these 19, 20, 21, 22-year-olds posting their pics and their nice cars and traveling and living a lifestyle. And I don't even know what they do. I can't even tell what they do. I just see the picture and I'm like, something's not adding up right now, right? And in my head, I'm going, if these kids can just post pictures of themselves on Instagram and talk about making money on Instagram, why can't I do it, right? So I just started posting pictures of myself, quality pictures, like candid shots, making myself look professional. And that led to me making new relationships and making new networking with different people. And that's what led to meeting those guys who were out in Arizona. So then I get out there and then I'm meeting more people, because now I'm in their inner circle and I'm meeting more people that they know. And you just, the network just spider webs, and you gotta allow it to. Like a big tip for anyone listening right now is allow your door to stay open. Never close it. Never. That was something that one of the biggest things I've ever done for myself is just be so open-minded and not afraid to get screwed over, right? Because I've gotten screwed over by several people in the last year, right? And I've met the wrong people, but the wrong people always have a way of leading you to the right people. I don't know why it works like that. It does. Yeah. That's how it works. So you gotta leave your door open, even though it might suck sometimes. I guarantee you, if your door stays open, the right people will follow, and they'll walk in, and that's when your life changes. That's when you see opportunities get in front of you that would have never ever happened if you didn't just allow change to come about. Right?
Yeah.
That's it. So
absolutely.
Yeah, man. So essentially, I spent all 2019 just trying what I saw other people doing. And this is what leads to how I came about building Mineset. Is I try, my God, dude. I mean, you name it. All the trending online businesses, right? E-com, wholesale real estate, Amazon, Forex trading, MLM marketing, network marketing, Shopify, Airbnb, credit. I was just like try, fail, like back and forth. You know what I mean? Like everything I could possibly do. I was just like, if I saw someone doing it, I DM them. Hey, I see what you're doing, this and that, what's it all about, right? And I was just on like process of elimination, just kept knocking different stuff out, because I was like, I would do it, and then I would just realize I didn't like it. And that was it. It wasn't that I could never do anything. Like if anyone does something long enough, you're gonna win, no matter what it is, right? Unless you're like trying to get in the NBA or something. You know what I mean? Like there's a limit to it somewhere, okay? But most things in this world don't take talent. They just take persistence. That's it. They just take
100%
in order to win. And so for me, it wasn't about like I don't take fails as a loss. I take fails as a win, right? And that's a big like shift you got to make in your brain. For those of you who are so scared of failing because you think it's like a step back in life, failing is a massive step forward, because now you just either got rid of something that you know you never need to do again, but you were wondering about, which is that was it. That was it for me, right? I was wondering about all these businesses of what they could be, and I tried them and I failed them and I checked them off my list and I moved on. And now I don't have to worry about that anymore. Now I don't have the thought of what if I can do this in my head anymore, right? That's it. So one day, and this is it. So one day, after I'd been, this is like November now. And so now I've been in Arizona for a few months. I've gone to Mexico. I've gone to LA. I went to Vegas. I had, cool travel pictures. I started doing the motivational videos that are on my wall as well. Right. So I have all those motivational videos on my wall. I had probably done about, I don't know, 4 or 5 of those by now, something like that. And I got a DM from this girl who was in a network marketing business called Monet, and they sell, hair, makeup, skin products, all that kind of stuff. And I obviously, made a joke about me being bald, and she started laughing. So we got to talking, right? I'm like, oh, hair products, go figure, right? So she ended up inviting me to speak to her team, her downline, which consists of 200 plus girls. And she's like, yeah, she's like, I don't know how many people are going to be on. So in my mind, I'm thinking it's like a typical, hoorah call. Maybe I'll get 10, 20 girls on, right? Well, there ended up being like 70 girls on this call, on this Zoom call, just like you and I are doing. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. Like, this is so new for me. And, I downplayed it like it wasn't a big deal. Like I was like head honcho, right? But like in my head, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, and the inside you're geeking. You're like, this is sick.
yeah. I'm like, I can't believe this is happening right now. Oh my God. So I did this call, and I just ripped it, man. I just 45 minutes, just go, and I didn't shut up. And afterwards, I got DMs from, probably like 40 or 50 of them DM me afterwards. Like, Pauly, thank you so much. That was so awesome. I'm like literally more motivated than I've ever been in my life right now. That was so impactful for me. I can't thank you enough. You know what I mean? Like all that kind of shit. And I was talking to the boss, like, hey, you're welcome so much. Let me know if you need anything. And it just felt like so right. It felt so awesome. And I was like, oh my God, man, this is what I want. This is what I
found it.
Yeah. And you know what the crazy part is? Is like, I always knew I like doing that, because I was always the person who was like helping people, and I, a lot of my friends and people I knew always came to me for like advice and insight. So I always kind of had that leadership in me. But I didn't believe in myself. That's it. It's like, it's only that one thing is your self-doubt, and that's what stops you, man. Because in reality, what else is going to stop you from doing what you think you should do?
Nothing.
It's only you. That's it. You might be judged by other people, and that might scare you a little bit, but ultimately you're the decider, you know what I mean, of whether or not you're going to do something. And that was the only thing that was holding me back, was me. So I did this call, man, and it was such an affirmation that I went home that night, and I had my whiteboard that I always wrote my goals on, like with a marker, and it had a bunch of stupid shit, right? Like sell this many, packages for the affiliate, or the person that I was affiliating at the time. Sell this many this, and buy a G-Wagon, by April, and like all these money goals and this and that. And I just erased everything. And I wrote motivational speaking on it. And I knew I wanted to do something in that space. So I got up the next morning and I went into the office that I was working at the time, not like a formal office, but like a apartment building office.
Right.
And I started planning out the videos for Mineset. And that was how it came about right there. After that call, it was really what triggered it. So I started writing out all the different stuff for Mineset. And within a couple of weeks, I bought the big easel that I could write on, and started recording. And by January 1st, I got it all. I had a website built for me. I paid for a website build. I paid for a landing page built for Mineset. I just started investing in myself. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going all in. I'm building my own business. This is it.
Let's go.
And January 1st, man, launched the community. And it started out as a program. That's it. Just an online program. It's 8 videos with 7 different topics. And just goes over how to deal with your friends and family, how to deal with social standards, stress and anxiety, positivity, pursuing your passion, your purpose, all that kind of stuff. And I had, it was slow at first, this is my first ever business. I didn't know what to expect. I'm not, I don't have a marketing team. I'm not running ads on it. I'm just doing it myself.
Right.
And I started, reaching out to people, and I already had like some people that were like kind of like watching me do what I was doing. The very first guy that ever joined was a kid named Colin Heaney. He's 20 years old, and he had reached out to me before that. And when I started promoting it, it was like, hey man, I see what you're doing. I love it. I'm very supportive of your movement that you're building here, and I can't wait to join. And I was like, cool, awesome. Sure enough, he joined like the first day or maybe like the morning after, I forget. And and he's actually now my business partner. So he's sitting right here.
Hey, hey, good for you for reaching out, bro. Good for you for reaching out.
So crazy story, but essentially, yeah, I built up, a few members here and there. By halfway through February, we did the first like group call where I got on and just kind of talked about some whatever, just a random topic. And after that call was when he reached out to me and was like, hey man, you need anything? If you want me to create, like, he's really good with computers and stuff. He's like, you want me to create like a Telegram chat or like a Facebook group or something like that? And just started offering to work for me for free. And sure enough, within a month, we filed for the LLC. We got the what's it called, the business trademarked. And yeah, man, now here we are. We got 3 different programs. We're doing, one-on-one coaching. We got a sales team now. I hired an assistant, a videographer. We're just scaling like crazy, man. But that is how it came about.
Dude, I love it, man. There's so many things I want to comment on. So I'll go in order. First, the first thing you said in that story, which was, I was trying everything, but I was trying other people's things.
That's a big one right there.
And then you found your thing. And I think both those things are important. Like, one of the guests that I recently had, he talked about that as the anti thing. He goes, that's just as important, is finding what isn't your thing, because then you can look at that and say, okay, I liked this piece of it, I didn't like this piece of it, and then you keep moving on. Always learning. And another aspect of that is, that's an important part of the journey, because, like, let's say I want to be like Pauly Long. I study you and I take the traits out of you that are already in me but need to grow, and then I become the version of me. There's 2 parts in that. So I think that's really awesome that you just kept going, because again, on the other side of all these, like you said, failures is your thing, is your, actually my mentor the other day, he had this awesome reference. He said he was in martial arts as a kid, and every time that they got hit and knocked down, his coach taught him to stand up and say thank you.
I like
because when he got hit, it was exposing a weakness.
Yeah.
It was exposing something he couldn't see before, or it forced him to learn a new skill, or it forced him to, teach him resilience. And I feel like your story there embodies that. And for me, again, that's inspiration for me and for everyone, because I have bad days. We all have bad days and we all want to quit. But the reality is that the people who make it, like you said, it's that resilience. It's not always the talent. And like you said, you can, people ask, why do you think you can do that? It's like, well, why does anybody do anything? It's because they spend enough time on it. How does this person climb the corporate ladder? Well, he's been working there for 25 years.
Yeah. Nonstop belief, man. Nonstop belief. And three things that I live and die by, 3 virtues that I live and die by are gratitude, humility, and patience. And I preach that. It's in my program. It's I always talk about it. But just have, that's gratitude relates to what you just said, right? Saying thank you for getting beat up. You know what I mean? Like that's huge. I could have complained about getting locked down in the Philippines. I could have not humbled myself and been like, oh, I'm too good for this. I can afford way better than this. Why am I stuck in this little shithole place, right? I could have been like, oh, I can't wait to get out. All I want to do is leave. I'm not going to do anything until I leave. You know what I mean? And not had humility, not had patience, but like, that's those 3 things. If you apply an abundance of gratitude towards every single thing that happens in your life and everything that's happened already in your life, okay, not holding on to painful things in your past, not holding grudges against anyone, not having regret about anything, not being angry towards people, and same thing moving forward, right? Like anything bad that comes your way, learn how to look at it immediately and say, why did this happen for me instead of happening to me, right? Things happen for us, not to us, always. Always, 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 always. That is like the highest form of gratitude, is always being able to ask yourself, why did this just happen for me? No matter how bad it is, right? And I'm not saying like if something tragic happens, right? And I'll just say it as an example, like someone in your family passes away, very sad, very tragic, very horrible. If someone close to me were to do that, I'd be very upset. I wouldn't be like, oh, thank you. You know what I mean? But the way you want to handle that is mourn, let your emotions go, right? Because you are a human and it's okay to be upset, and it's normal. But to hold on to something like that for months or years and let it eat away at you is where you got to really, really, really be careful, because that can affect your whole life. And if you allow yourself to be true with yourself and mourn whatever just happened and be upset about whatever just happened, and then flip the script and say, I'm so grateful for the time that I have with that person before they pass away. Okay. Or if you crash your car, right? You just bought a brand new car, a Range Rover, you're like so happy about it. It was like a huge life goal to get that Range Rover. And then someone freaking rear ends you and then bumps you into the car in front of you, and you just xylophone, right? Or accordion. And you're like, dude, what the hell? And you didn't get the right insurance on it. And you just lost $20,000. You could sit there and be like, well, fuck me, this is horrible. Why do bad things always happen to me, right? Why am I always the one, this and that? Why am I? And play the victim game. Or, hey man, I'm grateful that I didn't just die. This is cool. That was a big eye opener. And then ask yourself, why did that just happen to me? Why did the universe just get my car crunched? Because it happened for some reason. And start asking yourself that. Start asking yourself, what is that reason, man? And then humble yourself. That's where humility comes in, right? Like, you know what? Hey, maybe I got to go drive a rental car now for a couple months until I figure out the whole situation about the Range Rover. But you know what? I'm humbling myself. It's okay. I'm alive still. This is good. And then you have patience. You wait until you can get that car again, because if you got it the first time, you can get it the second time. So when you apply those three things to every single situation, you win. You win every time, because that's how you keep happiness. When you have unlimited gratitude, when you have unlimited humility and unlimited patience, you're happy if you can really stick to them. And happiness is the highest form of success. I don't care what anyone said.
100%.
You need money to create happiness. And I'll explain what I mean by that. But like everyone says, like, money doesn't create happiness. Wrong. Money is a tool to happiness. But just because you have money, just because you sit there in a room full of cash doesn't mean you're happy. So that's where the statement goes wrong. Correct. Money doesn't just poof create happiness, but money is a tool to happiness. So when you use money to create the life that makes you abundantly happy, that is how money leads to happiness. Don't just make the money and then fucking do something that you hate with your life and expect yourself to be happy because you make $500,000 a year. No, right? Use it to create the lifestyle that you truly want to live. And that's like, that's the secret, man.
100%. Yeah. Somebody once told me money doesn't equal happiness, but it is a prerequisite. It's like, you gotta have some of it.
I love that one. I might use that.
Yeah, dude, go for it. And another thing, the other day too, I saw something which is like, again, you can be a millionaire or a billionaire, but always be stressed and anxious.
Yeah.
And then you are no longer a millionaire. You are stressed and anxious. Like that's your reality. Emotions is our life. It's dude. I love your criteria, by the way. I wanted to say that. The gratitude, humility, and then patience.
Yeah.
Such powerful things. And to your point, like if something really bad happens, right? Something terrible happens. Like one of my guests was a 2-time cancer survivor. Yeah. And he's a coach now, and his big thing is he calls it the gifts of cancer. And he's like, cancer taught me so much. And because I asked him, he was like, well, what do you want out of this interview? And I said, well, I want to figure out how to have that like oh shit, life is precious mindset without having to have cancer. And basically what he said is, well, while going through that, while cancer, and it was terrible. It's like, it was awful. It was the worst time of my life. But eventually I had to ask myself, because it's a question we can all ask ourselves, how long do I want to feel this way? How long do I want to live this way? It's because at the end of the day, again, it's our choice. He's like, I could have mourned for a year, for 5 years, for 10 years. I could have been in that place forever. But I told myself, this isn't how I want to choose to live my life. And so when something really bad like that happens, that's kind of my, if anything like that happens in my life, I feel like that will be the philosophy. It's like, it's okay to mourn. It's okay to be, in the dumps, but eventually you have to ask yourself, how long do I want to feel this way for? And maybe you need to take a year, 2 years, who knows? But eventually you have to ask yourself, is this a place that I want to live in? Or can I live, back in that, what did this teach me? How can I grow sort of state? So I think I loved that, dude. Absolutely love what you just shared.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, no, it's true. Take the time that you need, but don't take forever, right? Because your heart has a number of beats. It's got a certain number, and when that last beat hits, that's it. You live your whole life in depression and anxiety and fear and worry and grudge and hate and anger and all this negative bullshit. Yeah, shit, bro. You don't got a whole lot to live for anymore. And then when you die, that's it. That was your choice. That was your opportunity. And that was a big thing for me, man. Like I just realized, like, sheesh, I've been working at this job for 4 years and I hated it the whole time. And I would keep convincing myself that I liked it, but I hated it, and it was just it was a fear thing. It was a fear thing. It was a fear of trying something new and having to start all over. And this is something too that I want to just quick touch on, because I've gone over this with a lot of my clients and just a lot of people in general that I've kind of helped just coach, like on Instagram and stuff like that, through the DMs. But a lot of people are terrified of either leaving, a job that they've been at, and maybe starting a new job or starting their own business, or they're terrified of leaving a relationship that they've been in and being on their own or finding a new relationship. Two of the biggest like controversial things, right? Job, career, and love. That's like
the biggest. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Those are the two biggest things of anyone's life. So that's the two scariest things of anyone's life. And everyone's got this fear of, all right, if I've been in a relationship, for 5 years, and I've been at my job for 5 years, right? And I've worked my way up the chain and I've gotten 3 promotions. And, with my relationship, we've been through these like 3 crazy things together and big fights, and we've overcome so much and this and that, right? But you're not happy at the job, regardless. Even with the promotions, you're not happy, and you're not happy with the relationship, because even though you've overcome all this stuff, it's just not right for some reason, and you know it in your heart. So now you got these 2 massive parts of your life weighing on you that you don't want of either. So in people's minds, they go, all right, well, I put in all the work, I put in all the effort to improve each of the situations, and now I got 5 years behind each. So if I quit now and I give up now and move on, I will have lost 5 years and I will have wasted 5 years. Okay. And the wasted part is where everyone has it backwards. You didn't just waste 5 years in a relationship. You didn't just waste 5 years at a job. You gained 5 years of experience in a relationship. You learned so much about yourself, and you learned so much about being with someone else and how to handle certain situations. And in a job, you learned so much about yourself and so much about working with other people in whatever job it was, right? So you're not wasting any time by moving forward. You're only wasting more time by staying in the position that makes you not happy. It's vice versa. Yeah. Everyone's like, I got this fear of wasting more. I don't want to waste all the time I've already spent. It's like, bro, you're just going to be wasting more time then. you're wasting time being worried about wasting time.
Yeah.
You know? That's the
Yeah.
dude. And that was like, for me, that was like a big thing that hit me one day with Ellie Fitness, because that was it. That was like my big holdback. I was like, man, I spent 4 years. Like I was like one of the top directors in the whole company at some points, and I got I even had I was being prospected to be like a high up position, like a VP of like a district VP where you run like 10 clubs. You get 100K base, like that kind of thing. Which in reality I don't give a shit about now, obviously, but like at the time, like no college degree, you know what I mean? Like college dropout. Like for me, that was a big deal. And I let it hold me back, right? Like man, that 4 years, if I give up now, I will have just wasted 4 years. And then one day I was like, yo, I'm just wasting more time because I know I'm not doing this shit forever.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I was like, yo, I'm out.
100%, dude. 100%. And you know what's funny is I just thought back to my psychology class, because I believe this is what it's called, the sunk cost fallacy. And we learn about it in some very basic ways, but a good example is if you're in a line in a grocery store.
Yeah.
You choose a line, and maybe they're both really long. It's a busy day, right? There's 10 people in each line, and your line's moving really slow. And so maybe 2 passes, and this whole line's now empty. Mm-hmm. But you don't leave this line. Maybe you still got 5 people in front of you, and this line has 1. But you don't leave because you're already in that line. You've already invested in it. Or like another example is there was a chocolate bar and a pen, right? And right off the bat, everyone chooses the chocolate bar. But if you're given the pen first and you say, hey, do you want to trade for this chocolate bar? People are like, no, like I already chose this pen, even though they want the chocolate bar more. And so it's something that's wired in us. And it's such a good point, because that's what they teach us. They say, we make decisions going forward now. We got to forget that we're already in this and move in and say, which is the better option? And when you do that, it becomes clear that, like you said, going after what you want, like you're already wasting time. You don't got to waste more time. So yeah, dude, that's actually, I don't think anybody's really said it like that to me in all these interviews. So that was really powerful. That was really powerful.
I'm glad. Yeah, that's a big one. If you can have that like brain download in your head and realize that whatever you're doing, it's you're never wasting time unless you know you don't want to do something and you stay with it. That is called wasting time, right? But if you don't know what you're doing and you're just doing something right now to figure yourself out, that's okay. Do it, right? But the second that you have that thought of like, I don't want to do this anymore, and you change your mind, changing your mind is a huge strength that a lot of people undervalue, because everyone 100%. Thinks like, oh, if I change my mind, it makes me look weak, right? Because now I'm like, I thought I wanted to do something, and then I don't want to do it anymore. And, if you're in a relationship and you change your mind and you realize you don't want to be with that person anymore, you get that guilt, right? Oh, well, I told him or I told her, I love them and now I don't, and I feel bad. But it's like, yo, if you don't, you're just not only hurting yourself, you're hurting them too by just prolonging it, Same thing at a job. If you're at a job and you hype it up and you're like, hey, telling all your friends and family, oh, I got this new job, I got this corporate job, I'm an accountant, executive, representative, some bullshit title that they give you in a fucking 9 to 5, right? and you're hyping it up to everyone, and then you get there, and within a month, you're like, I fucking hate this, man. This sucks, right? So many people are in that situation. And so many of them will stay with that job because they don't want to hear it from their families. They don't want to hear, they don't want to be embarrassed after they just got done saying how awesome it is. And then 30 days later, they realize they hate it and it sucks. For them to swallow that pride and quit is like, it's like climbing a mountain. So many people just can't do it. And I don't know why. Who gives a fuck, right? If you don't like what you're doing and you realize that, be strong and just quit and move on. You learned something. You figured out that it's not for you. Who gives a shit? Oh, everyone like can hear the voices of their family and friends. Oh, I told you that wasn't going to be good. Oh, I thought you said you loved it. This and that. Like, shut up. Fucking what the hell? Just because you've been working at the your little accountant office for 20 years and you never quit. and you're 40 pounds overweight and you go on one vacation a year, it doesn't mean I need to hear from you about, why I shouldn't have gotten the job in the first place. Right. Like, and I get it. Like I have empathy for a lot of people because I know how judgmental people can be especially in your inner circle, right? The people that are close to you, family, your friends, so judgmental. Everyone's so quick to give their 2 cents. But like, it's the people who don't have anything that we want who always seem to give us the best advice, quote unquote.
Yeah, right.
It's not the best advice, the worst advice, right? But it's like, but something I also learned is never take advice from someone that doesn't have what you want. Big. Do not take advice and insight from people that don't have what you want, because they don't know. Right. Why should I listen to my grandfather, who and I'm not saying my grandfather personally, I'm saying like in general. In general terms. Like why should I listen to my grandfather if he came up in the Great Depression in a whole other era, right? That has nothing to do with the time that we're in now, was raised on the concept of school, job, wife, kids, die. Right? Like why should I take advice about entrepreneurship for someone like that?
Right.
And that's what people have to understand. Is it's like, dude, times are different. Be the one of your generation. Own your decade, right? Own that, because this is your decade, not theirs. You came up in this decade. You know more about this decade and this generation than they do. Straight up.
Yeah, dude. And with the advice thing, this is actually my favorite thing that Gary Vee talks about, which is when people are coming at you, you have to approach them with a ton of empathy, because it's just them reflecting their own insecurities, their own, It's like if they see Pauly traveling to Bali and Hawaii and they're like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing? It's because deep down they have a fear of that, and so attacking that with empathy is very difficult, but it's an important shift. And like you just said, when it comes to advice, like, for me, it's when I think about who I listen to, it's either they have, what I want to have, or at least they're on the same journey as me. Right. Yeah. Yes. They want the same things I want, right? They want to feel grateful. They want to be happy. They want to have the things that they need in their life. And if you're on that journey with me and I know you learned something, I'm like, yo, let's go. Like, share it with me. And that's what I'm trying to do. That's what you're trying to do. That's what we're all, and so, dude, those are just two great points, because it's so easy to want to listen to everyone because everyone wants to give their 2 cents.
Always. And part of, I'll say this too, when I, my parents have been split since my whole life, since I was like 2. And my stepmom has been on my life since I was 3. My dad got with her like a year later. So both those two and my mom, regardless, I was raised in both households. Everyone's just worries, right? Worries about everything. What if this and that? Everything has to have a very specific plan, and especially like my dad's like very like plan oriented, like has to have exactly what's going on, right? And my mom, like, control freak. She's got to always be in control of everything. So like that's how I was raised. So for me, once again, why I said it was so crazy for me to do what I did with like packing up my car and like driving all the way across the country and flying to Bali for a month, like all that stuff was so foreign for me, to do, because I had never experienced anything even close to that. Not even remotely, you know what I mean? Like not even a fraction of that had I experienced anything like that in my life. So when I first started, and got in like entrepreneurship or tried, at least back in, I think it was like February, March of last year is when I tried like 2 different or 3 different businesses all at once. I was studying for my real estate exam. I was getting ready to quit, my LA Fitness job. I had just signed up for I signed up for 2 network marketing businesses like in the same week. One was the Forex trading. And then the other was selling like electric plants, right? Like to homes and shit like that. And, I signed up for like both those in the same week. I was studying real estate. So I was like spreading myself way too thin, right? I would try to be like doing a little bit of real estate and then a little bit of electric stuff and a little bit of Forex. And I'm like reaching out to all these people and trying to sell them and selling nobody. And I didn't know what the hell I was doing, right? But regardless of all that, when I did it, I knew that I felt the energy, and I felt my energy change, but I knew that my families didn't, because that's not what they do, right? They have their lives, they do their thing, and I love my family to death, right? I would never talk bad about them, never talk bad about my parents. Love my family to death. They just aren't on that. They're not on that frequency that I'm at, right? They don't think like
Right.
that. They're not like entrepreneurs like that. And so I knew that, my mom always scared of everything, always like, oh, well, do you think that's a good idea? Well, what if it, and then my dad too, like immediately like this, something like, hey, well, just, what if you don't make money, this and that. So before any of that happened, I didn't tell him I was signing up for the electric day. Didn't tell him I was signing up for the Forex. All they knew was like real estate. So I remember I went to my parents' room. I actually had moved back home for a few months before I went to Arizona, because I was dating a girl for like a year, and we were living together. And then when we broke up, I just went back to my parents. I didn't know what I was doing, so I was grinding. I was working every day, entrepreneurship. So I went into their room the one night, and I was like, hey, I got to talk to you guys. And I sat down on their bed and just looked right at them, and I was like, Dad, Steph, Steph is my stepmom, Dad, Steph, I was like, I love you guys with all my heart, and I'm trying 2 new businesses right now, and this is how it's gonna go. And I was like, I'm gonna do this, and it may work, or it may not, and I might fail, and I'm okay with that. I just want you to know, I'm okay with failing. I'm not scared of it. I might completely fuck this up. And if I do, I'll bounce back and I'll try something else and I'll figure it out. But if you guys give me any form of negative energy towards what I'm doing right now, and any form of worry or fear or stress, if you put that onto me, I will not talk to you. And I don't want to say that to be mean. I don't want to say that to be rude. I don't want to say that to be a dick, because I love you guys. But all I want is positive support. And if I don't get that, we just won't talk until you're ready. And that was the talk that I had with them. And this is what everyone needs to do with their family as soon as they do it, is set the ultimatum. It's like, look, dude, I don't give a shit if I fail. Because ultimately, why do families and friends say this shit? 2 reasons. Number 1, they love you and they're afraid of you failing. And that's okay, because that's just them looking out for you. But they don't realize the negative connotation that it puts on you, the negative energy that it pushes into your energy, right? And you don't want that. You don't want that fear and that worry. That's bad. That just lowers your frequency, and then it creates that self-doubt. So you don't want that. Okay. Number 2, they're the ones who are actually afraid. They're afraid, and they're afraid to do it themselves. So what they do is they instill that fear upon you in a sense to drag you back with them, so that they don't have to take a step forward, and they don't have to feel guilty about not taking a step forward. You see, no one wants to do entrepreneurship, or everyone wants to do entrepreneurship, but they don't want to do it, right? They want the lifestyle, they want to do that, but they don't want to actually take the chance. They don't want to take the risk. They don't want to quit their job. They don't want to lose their paycheck. They don't want to fail. They don't want to do any of that. So in their minds, they're freaked out, man. And then they see you do it, their
100%.
friends, their son, their family member, their whoever, and they're like, whoa, what are you doing? Hold on, you're leveling up and I'm not. Let me freak you out a little bit so that I don't feel as bad about you not doing it. I mean, that's literally what happens. That's literally that's actually what happens. So yeah, man, I had that talk, and I think if anyone's listening here and you're trying to make a move, have a talk with your close, your friends, your family, and just tell them, look, I appreciate you. You mean a lot to me, and I don't want to dampen our relationship over me just trying to better my life. So let's just stay on a positive course here. And if you want to support me, great. If not, then I'll talk to you later. That's it.
Yeah.
And be real. I lost a lot of friends, Tim. I lost a lot of friends over this kind of stuff. I had to drop a lot of people in my life, and just kind of it's not how I wanted it to be, but it had to happen, because there's just some people on this planet who don't get it, and they won't, unfortunately. And that's just the reality of it. So if you have people in your circle, you got to get them out and bring the right people in.
Man, that's some deep stuff. I mean, I love what you did, that you were just so straight up about it. And again, just what we talked about, right? It's, you know, we're going to be selective at a certain point in the journey on who we need our advice from. And when it comes down to our friends and our closest friends, I mean, our friends and family, I'm thinking about it in my life, and you're exactly right. Like, what I need from them is not advice, is not you should do this, you should do that, is not, well, maybe you should try this. What I need from them is 100% support,
Yep.
100% belief. Because when I'm having a bad day, I don't need them to be like, well, maybe you should just quit. I need them to be like, yo, let's go. You're good. You're down. And it's 100% right, man. And just like you said, you don't want to make them feel insecure. You're not trying to force. I mean, if people level up around you because you're choosing to, that's fantastic. But I think it's so true. Like, I'm 23 years old. And so I just graduated from University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Nice.
I was in a fraternity, all my friends, like, we hung out, we had great times. And some of them are super supportive, but some of them are also like, what do you know that I don't know? Like, why are you trying to tell me how to do life? And I'm like, it's not about that. Like, I'm not trying to tell you how to do anything. I am seeking the truth in my life. And I am trying to share the answers that I find. And if you are ready and want to listen, that's fine. If you're not, I still love you, bro.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to communicate, because you don't get to sit down with each and every single one of all your friends, like all the hundreds of people that I met on Instagram. And when they see me posting about this now, right, I don't get to be like, hey, man, I'm not trying to tell you, like, you suck at life, ! Like, that's not what we're doing here, right? But you're right. There's just that conflict. And man, so that hit deep, what you just said. That hit really deep. And it's one of the hard, I think, personally, because I value love and connection maybe over anything. That hits me deep a lot, for sure.
Yeah, it's true, man. There's just always going to be those, some of those people who just don't jump on board, and it's okay, and I'm a firm believer of people come into your life for a certain period of time. Some of them stay forever. Most of them don't, right? And most of them, and a lot of them will stay maybe for an extended period of time, right? But even then, some people just do not stay in your life forever, and that's how it goes. People enter your life for a specific reason. As soon as that chapter is over, you flip the page, it's a new chapter. That's it. And you got to be okay with that. You got to understand that, right? And that once again, that comes down to like a gratitude, humility, patience kind of thing. You really, really, really gotta be thankful for whoever does come into your life, good or bad. If you have a horrible relationship, it teaches you something, right? You can't be like, oh, well, fuck that guy, fuck that girl, they ruined my life, blah, 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 blah. I'm depressed now. It's like, no, like, understand why you had to go through that, because I'm sure you learned something from it, and be thankful for it. And the people who don't support you, the people who, who hate on what you're doing and give you that negative energy when you're first trying to start your own business or do something different with your life, you make the decision right then and there, and give them the ultimatum. Hey, look, you don't have to do what I'm doing, but like, just be cool with it. Or if you're really not really going to sit there and cause a bunch of negative stuff and make me feel like I'm doing something wrong, I'll see you later. And I wish you the best. And I send you much love. And that's it. I'm going to go do me now, and that's it. It's hard. It's a hard thing to do, but in reality, it's not, because when you make that decision to change your life, make the decision. And changing your life might mean changing some of the people that you have in your life as well.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Wow. That was good stuff, man. I want to cover one final topic before I kind of get to our closing here, but I'm curious about, your future plans with the travel-based lifestyle, and if you're planning on continuing to do that. And I actually had a fan submit a question too, who said, ask him about, how does he take lessons from place to place and carry them with him, from Bali to Hawaii. And remember when I lived in Southeast Asia, one of the biggest things that I was trying to do for many months afterwards was, how do I take these lessons and implement them in my life? And so can you talk to me a bit about, are you planning on continuing this travel-based lifestyle? And also, as you go to these places, how how are you soaking up kind of the lessons from each place and taking them with you as you go?
That's a great question. Yeah. Yeah. So, I was, the crazy part is I was planning on, I had pretty much committed to living in Bali. That's how like in love I fell with it. After the first month. And, when I went back the second month, it was crazy, man. Like everything was just aligning. Everything was just falling into place. I was getting like ambassadorships from like restaurants there. I was getting free clothes from one of the local stores, like to promote. Like it was like, I had never experienced it like this. I was like, man, this is it. Like Pauly and Bali, right? Like it was like, it was perfect, right? It was too perfect,
Right.
So when that happened, everything, kind of got, the snow globe got stirred. I adapted. I kept pushing my business. I kept grinding. And then obviously everything worked out for the best, because now I have my business partner, Colin, who I showed you earlier. I got my videographer, Joe. I got my personal assistant, Sierra. The four of us were in this house. And it's great. It's been a great bonding experience, a great experience for the business. We launched the new program, the 90-day transformation program, which has 3 different tiers to it. That was launched on June 1st. We got a couple clients already, on the top program, as well as a couple on the bottom, and it's just everything's going great so far. And with being in Hawaii, it my thought originally was I got to get back to Bali, which I still kind of do, and I guess that for now is what I'm leaning towards.
Gotcha.
I don't know when. See, the issue is Bali is closed right now. There's no way I can get in. If I showed up at the airport, they'd put me on a plane and send me off somewhere else, right? So I'm waiting for my Indonesian social visa still. I still haven't gotten it yet. And I was supposed to get it in the first week of April, mind you not. It's the last week of June right now. So I'm supposed to get it in like a week, hopefully, fingers crossed. Here in Hawaii, I can pick it up. They actually have an Indonesian embassy here. And if I do get that, great. Still doesn't get me into Bali because they need to open the doors. So the talk right now is that it won't happen until October, but who knows? It could be sooner. It could be even further out. I don't know yet. And if that is the case too, what's going to be going on in the world? See, the thing about my life is, especially with 2020, no one knows what the hell's going on, right? I mean, there could be a whole new freaking thing that happens next week that shakes the earth, right? And that's just how this year's been going. So I plan a little bit ahead, but I don't plan too far ahead.
Nice.
And that is how I've been living my life. Right now, it's the 23rd, I believe, right? Yeah. So actually, I'm booked through the next month. So until July 23rd, we're going to be here till July 3rd. Then we go to LA for a couple weeks till 20th. Then I have a few days in Vegas, and that brings me to the 23rd. I have no idea after that. I haven't decided yet. Kind of just waiting to see what the beginning of July does, and then go from there. I'm
Nice.
I'm really like kind of last minute with a lot of stuff just because of my business and my lifestyle and just the continuous motion that 2020 seems to be going in. You never know what's around the corner. So that, for as far as like my travel plans, I have no idea, man. I wish I could answer that question. Like I said, I'm booked through July, but I want to go home and see my family at some point. Haven't seen them since January. And that's definitely on my to-do list before I head back overseas, because I would like to get back to Bali. I would, and I want to post up there. I want to establish my business there some more. I want to get some real estate there before everything goes up, because it's definitely a hot spot for sure.
100%.
Yeah. And then, the goal by next year is, I was thinking about doing it this year, but I think with everything going on, I think it's just not the right time. So I think next year would be better to start booking events, speaking events, because I really want to speak. So that's my end goal is to be like Tony Robbins, Gary Vee level speaking. Like
100%.
That's just not stopping until I get there, literally.
Yeah, I'm with you, bro.
So I want to start booking events. I want to start, getting some networking events together, speaking events together, hosting through Mineset, that kind of thing. And I think that could be something that happens next year. Possibly if Bali doesn't like open this year, then I might do it. I might stay in the U.S. for the next 6 months. I don't know. So
Right.
it's really hard to tell. So that answers that question. But for the other one too, like how do I take something from each place? So, like I said, Bali, massive spiritual transformation. Huge. That's when I started doing my daily affirmations every day. So developing a good morning routine is really, really huge. Every single morning I get up, I stretch, I do a little bit of meditation, maybe 10 minutes. Just either put some meditation music on or just sit in silence and just work on my breathing and just relax. Then I write a page like this of daily affirmations that just go over, my purpose and what I'm doing and my beliefs and just everything that I feel needs to be written on paper. And I write them every single morning, like literally, like religiously. This whole notebook is full.
Same thing every morning, or just whatever on your mind that morning?
Whatever's on my mind. A lot of them are the same. A lot of them, like probably I'd say 75% are like the same every morning, and then there's like a 25% that's like interchangeable. But most of them, it's all just reaffirming the same stuff, like over.
Nice.
Literally, I've been writing these affirmations for 6 months straight without stopping. Like I've probably missed maybe a week's worth of days because due to like craziness and travel and shit like that. But like that's it. Like, every day I write that stuff. And so when I was in Bali and I really started doing that, I really got consistent with that. What I took away from Bali is like finding my purpose. Like really, really solidifying my purpose of like this is what I want to do. I launched my own business. I'm sticking to it. I got a new sense of, how can I say this? I got a new sense of being, like a human being, right? In Bali, it's so different. And I took away a massive shift in perspective. Just the way that I viewed life, because in America, we all know America, right? We all know how it works. It's just that's where we grew up in. Bali, man, it's just like it's so opposite that you drive on the left side of the road. I mean, it's everything about that place is just completely different. Like when you set foot into the island, the energy is different, the air is different, the
100%.
vibes are just everywhere, man. Good vibes and high energy. The outdoor life. I mean, I wore flip-flops, shorts, and an unbuttoned island shirt every day for like 2 months.
100%.
The sense of being and just being in an island and the freedom of it. And, you hop on a scooter and you buzz downtown real quick and park up at a cafe and spend your day, working on your laptop, eating, breakfast and lunch in the same place. And you go to the beach and it's just such a different lifestyle. So with Bali, I took away like the different sense of being, the perspective shift, the spiritual download that I experienced there. Singapore, I went to Singapore for a few days in between the 2 months that I stayed in Bali. Singapore, that was the first time I'd ever been traveling like on my own without anyone, because my buddy went home and I was by myself. So really cool experience with that. I took away a new sense of like pride and leadership in myself. Just being able to travel on my own, book a place, go there on my own. I didn't know anyone there. I was all by myself for 4 days, exploring, walking through the city, just checking stuff out. Right. So like a sense of pride and a sense of like self-ownership is what I took away from Singapore. The second month in Bali, I really met a ton of people. So just being able to rely on yourself to create more relationships and expand your network, and just know that like no matter where you're at and who you're with, everything's going to be okay, right? I still didn't have a plan. I came back from Singapore without my buddy. I didn't even book a place. I had this one girl who is now like one of my best friends. She's awesome. So she was living in this villa by herself because her friend and her friend's boyfriend owned it but weren't renting it out to anyone. So she was staying there for free. There was 2 extra rooms. She's like, yeah, dude, just come and crash my one of the rooms. So I was like, all right, fuck it. So then I was living there. like I just like threw her like, a couple $100 for electric for the month, and that was it. And then her and her boyfriend moved in with another couple, and I crashed there for a few days before I went to Philippines. So each place, man, it just, when you're traveling like that, and you're out and about, and you're abroad, and you take away the culture for sure. That's a huge thing. The perspective in each culture is just, it's really different, man. Everything's so different in different countries, and it's crazy. Like the world, like we're all the same, yet we're so different too. And the way that everyone lives, the lifestyles, that you see the poverty, you see the good part, the bad part. You see things that you just aren't used to. And I guess, what, there's one common theme. And this is the last thing I'll say. There's one common theme to answer that person's question about like how, what do you take away from each place? The most common theme when traveling is just like you see something new everywhere you go. And that is such a huge part of growth, that, I'm a huge fan of, I shouldn't say fan, I'm a huge, how can I say this? Perspective is everything, right? When you change your perspective, when you boost your perspective and you see things differently, you may look at, I don't know, a watermelon, right? When you're 3 years old, you may hold this watermelon and it looks like the most massive thing in the world, right? You're like holding this, you're like, it feels like it's 100 pounds. And then 20 years later, you pick up a watermelon and it's just a fucking watermelon, right?
Right.
Because you've seen it before. It's not a big deal. So when you see new things, and no matter at what point you are in your life, it does something up here. It does something. Have a shift. And that's why it's so important to travel. And that's why most of the people who just live in one place their entire life, we all kind of know how those people are, right? I don't even need to say it. The people who stay in one place forever, we know how those people get. We know how they are. They're very, limited belief, limited mindset. And the people who travel are the ones who experience things, and they see different things, and they start to think differently. So the one thing you could take away from the one thing that I've taken away from each place I go, it's just the shift in perspective, right? You learn something, you meet new people, you see new things, and it gets you thinking differently about your life, and it gets you thinking differently about what you want, and it gets you thinking differently about your goals and your purpose, and you just figure yourself out. It's crucial, man. Traveling is crucial. If you can't travel, start reading books, right? Take some courses. Like just keep seeing new things, and if you can't see new things, then start learning new things, because then learning new things is going to lead you to something else that allows 100%. You to level up your life, and then you'll be able to create new streams of income for yourself, and then you will be able to travel, and then you'll continue to
right. Right.
Yeah, and that's the big thing for me. It's just the shift in perspective, for sure.
I love it, dude. Yeah, and that's a great follow-up. What you said there is like, if you can't, there's a lot of ways you can get new perspective. So there's ways from $5 to free podcasts to travel. There's ways that you can get perspective on big and small scales. And so I love how you mentioned that. And dude, again, relating on the Southeast Asia thing, it's impossible to not sound cliche when you say it, but that place changes your life, because I grew up in the Midwest of the United States.
Exactly.
And I see the world like this. And when I went, I was at a place with 140 exchange students in my apartment complex from all over the world.
Yeah.
And every single one of them, France, Switzerland, Italy, Spain, Norway, Japan, Taiwan, every single one of them had a different mindset about how to live their life because of how their certain culture taught them how to do it. And so when I came back, I was just like, and actually it's funny because when I came back, that was the hardest 6 months of my life, because I came back to the Midwest and I was back in that same environment, and I wasn't able to, I felt like my life had just gone like, but everyone around me, it was, and again, this is not bashing people around me.
This is more just saying my inability at the time to process it. But I was like, life is precious. Life is crazy. And I'm sitting in this environment where I don't feel like I can relate with anybody. And for me, it was really hard because it was just so different. But over time, as I learned to process it, I felt like I was on top of the world in Bangkok. And then I felt like I hit a low. But once I was able to take all that, I reached new heights that I had never been at before. And so, yeah, man, it is a trip, bro. It is a trip and it's crazy. I want to ask you two final questions. One, I want everyone from episodes to have something to act on, something that they can go do. If you had a call to action for listeners based off everything we talked about, what would a call to action be?
Yeah, I mean, are you talking about like for my business or just?
No, I mean for the listeners, like people are listening to this conversation and they're saying, okay, we talked about all these things with Pauly, from mindset to travel to business to relationships. And someone's here. What, how can someone take this information? And what's like one step they could, affirmations, what's one step that they could take to start making a change in their life?
Yeah. I mean, for most people, I'm assuming who are listening to this, they're probably somewhat in that entrepreneurial mindset. Maybe you haven't started it yet. Maybe you're just getting started. Maybe you've been in it for a while, whatever. I mean, for those of you who are thinking of doing something and haven't done it yet, you got to just do it. You got to jump in. Honestly, that's like the big thing. I think the best thing I ever did for myself, and I'm still doing right now, is just like, go. I make quick decisions. And that was like a big thing that I never did my whole life, because once again, just like I had mentioned, my father, very, very plan oriented, very, very like, in my mind was wasting time planning so much. In his mind was, planning to not fail. Right. And like, there's a up and a down, a good and a bad to each of those sides, but there's also like a somewhat of a limit that you got to put on it, or else you're just spending so much time planning that you never get anything done. So for me, like, just making quick decisions was something that I had to really just start doing. So, jumping in my car, driving cross country, leaving myself no option, investing in myself, investing in my business, hiring a full team, getting them out to Hawaii, all this kind of stuff. I'm still doing it. I'm still making quick decisions. I just hired a sales team. Right? I'm giving a percentage of my business away to different people to try and scale it, to try and build it. So I'm dumping money into myself right now. I'm 100%. Taking massive amounts of risk. I could totally fuck myself, right? And lose everything, but like, I'm okay with that, because
it should be okay.
Ready for this? And this is a nugget I'll drop. Money is an abundance and it always comes back. Time is a scarcity and it never comes back. Don't forget that. Money will always come back to you, but time won't. Dude, if you can, if anyone listening to this, if you have like $1,000, $2,000, whatever, okay, in your checking account, in your savings account, go travel right now. Take a fucking week off of work and just go somewhere. Just go. Just hop on a plane and fucking get out. Because you're going to come back with a whole new set of thoughts. A whole new set of thoughts. And everyone's like, oh, well, that's $1,000 I could be putting towards rent. That's $1,000 I could be saving for retirement. What the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean? you think that $1,000 is like what's going to fucking supply you with food for 30 years after you retire? What do you mean, right? Don't rely on saving all your money and planning everything. And sometimes the best plan is no plan, right? All the times I didn't plan got me somewhere. Yeah, everything.
Action.
It's straight up. Take quick, immediate action. Stop overthinking things, and if you want to do something, do it. Stop wasting time at a job you don't want to be at. Stop wasting time in a relationship that makes you depressed. Like, just cut that shit out. Just cut it out. Ridiculous.
Oh, I love it. I mean, it goes back to the beginning, right? What are you waiting for?
That's it.
What are you waiting for?
Go.
I love it, dude. All right. Well, closing question. And this one's kind of an intense question, but it allows you to give a good answer, I think. So, you got what, 250,000 followers on Instagram. You got people listening to your words. You send a lot of messages out into the world. Let's just hypothetically say that today is your last day on earth and you got one Instagram post left and you want to leave all your work in the world. You want to leave one message with people. What would that one message be? If everything Pauly Long ever created was destroyed, but you could leave one message with the world, what would it be?
They would definitely start out. I'd hit that word max at the bottom where they say this message can no longer have any more words. I have to write the rest of it in the comments. But dude, yeah, I mean, shit. Like I said, I'm very spiritual, and that's something that's new for me that I've only developed, really in the last less than a year. But the thing that, so here I have them right here, so I'm going to show you things that make a massive difference in your life that everyone should start doing. Get over the whole cliche, thinking it's hokey pokey, thinking it's bullshit. Daily affirmations, write them down. And, I'll give you guys a couple of examples. I am a leader. I was put on this earth to change and impact lives. Mineset is $1 billion business. I never slow down. I'm focused. I value my time. I'm always where I need to be. I was put here for a huge reason. I seek everything. I fear nothing. I am a legend. I believe in myself 1,000%. Everything I do is for the people, right? The list goes on, okay? But it's just reaffirming your purpose, your goals, your mission, your entire being on this planet and why you're here. And then I have a mantra sheet. So I write a mantra, and I read this every morning. It's got, my morning routine, my daily power list, my little morning circuit routine. It's got some affirmations on it. It's got my money goals. It's got some extra bonus goals. It's got a couple gratitudes. And I have a money mantra as well. So I have a whole written thing about what money means to me and why it's important and why it's going to, be able to create happiness for me and others as well. Because ultimately I believe that money flows through my heart and into people's lives who need it most. And I actually have a huge tattoo on my leg that portrays that through an image of a heart with money coming out of it and clothing a woman on her head. So like that's a big thing for me. So, I have all these affirmations and purpose and reaffirming that I do daily. So the one thing I would leave in an Instagram post is to really tell everyone, start it from the second you read this post and moving forward, start closing your eyes and asking the universe to tell you why you're here. Because each person on this planet has one massive reason that they're here. Me, Pauly Long, I was born to lead. I know that. I was born to speak. I was always getting yelled at in school because my voice was too loud, right? I was always the loudest person everywhere I went, right? Pauly Long, loud voice, loud laugh. That's just what I'm, that's how, and I always thought I was just a fucking bad kid or whatever. I didn't know why I was so loud. I was always getting in trouble. And then I started helping people and I realized, my voice was meant to be heard. And that's my purpose on this earth. That's why I got to speak. That's why I got to get on stage, because I'm influential and I impact people's lives. And I hear it every day. I have people that DM me every day. Thank you so much for what you said. Thank you for that video. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. And it means a lot to me. And that's, I have this tattooed on my hand right here. It says Dla Ludzi. Okay. It's Polish for people, for the people, right? Everything I do is for the people. And that's what I firmly believe in. And so that's my purpose. And I discovered that, and it completely altered my life. Like 180 and then 180 again, and then 180 one more time. Like I just freaking whirlwind, and so for the last thing that I leave on earth before I go is you must figure out a fucking way to do what you want in life. And it could be anything from A to Z. But if you're not doing that, and in your heart that you're not doing that, drop everything. Because here's the thing too, you can start from zero any day. You could be 50 years old with a wife and 3 kids, and you could fucking drop everything and figure it out in less than a year. Anyone's life can change in 6 months if you really work hard enough. Honestly, you could start from scratch at any point. So stop being afraid of what you're truly here for and go after it. Chase after your purpose with a passion.
Man, the end of that interview left me with some goosebumps. I don't know about y'all, but I am ready to chase after my purpose with a passion, like Pauly says, and like his call to action said too. You just got to do it. You just got to start. Why wait? As his friend said, right? His friend said, "What are you waiting for?" And there really is no answer to that question. There's no thing that's going to bring you the answers. There's no cure-all, secret, quick trick to having purpose and a great life. You just got to go out there and do it. Go out there and try. Go out there and create. Go out there and create your purpose. It's not going to be just found by just walking around. You got to go out there and create your purpose. And so I love this interview. Pauly said to drop his IG in the show notes. It's just at Pauly Long, but if you want to reach out to him, talk to him, follow his content, you can do it there. And you know what time it is. Go out there, make your dreams a reality, and I'll see you next time.